Hi guys, it's PJ, and on New Year's, I went to gamble. I'm not a gambler. My friends and I just all decided to go out and gamble for New Year's because they had a special at the casino where you could get like dinner and money to gamble. And I have this card now that I have 3 more times I can have money to gamble. But I'm not a big gambler because I don't win much. And I didn't. 2 of my friends won. Me and another friend didn't. And that's fine. We were there to have a good time. I didn't care. But I was like limited in what I was going to spend to try and win. And maybe that's why some people just go in there and play. And I go in there going, okay, I'm only spending this much because I just don't gamble. So anyway, but once I did, and we were on, I thought I knew, I don't know if I ever told you this or not, but I thought I knew how to tell if slot machines were going to hit or not. I watched this guy play at a casino on a cruise ship, and watching him, I was like, I get it, I get this, I know what's going on. If you do this, that, and this, you'll win, right? So the next day, I tell Jeff that Jeff and I are on the cruise. I was like, okay, I want to go to the casino. And he's like, really? Because we really didn't do it much. We would have one casino night. And I'm like, yes, I figured it out. So anyway, so we go to the casino. We're all dressed to the nines. We had dinner and a show. And then we go to the casino. And so we're in the casino. And I thought that if you picked either the aisle slot machine or the one next to the aisle, because people want, like, the people at the casino want to see people win, so it draws other people in. Yeah, that was my big idea. That one, and I thought you won. So I thought if you down bet, you won too. Like, you can bet full, like the whole amount of lines or whatever. But I thought that's not how you win. What you do is you trick the machine. You say to the machine, okay, I'm gonna bet full, and not win much, and then I'm gonna bet low. You know, the lowest thing you can bet. Hold on, the lowest thing you can bet. I'm gonna bet low, and then the machine's gonna let me win on the next one because it thinks I'm gonna bet low again. Only I'll bet high. This is my thought. I have this figured out. So I sit down at the machine, and I took my little, you had a bunch of cups, like big plastic cups all over the place, like in between all the machines. So I grabbed one, and I got quarters. You had to use quarters, and I'm throwing quarters in it, and I'm like not winning. So I'm like, no way, I have this figured out. So I go ahead and I move over one because I'm like, oh, maybe it's the second to the aisle. So I move over one and I'm trying to play. Anyway, I'm like going nutty because it's not working. And Jeff walks over to me and he's like, come on, I want to go. I'm out of money. I want to go. So I'm like, no. And I grab a handful of my quarters in another cup and I throw them in there and I hand it to him. I'm like, just go play. I got to figure this out, right? Because now I'm nuts because I think I know what I'm doing. So he's like, oh. And he walks away. He's like, oh, pissy, because he doesn't want to play anymore. And like within 30 seconds, no, within a minute, he walks back by me. And I'm like, he has cups from under his chin to as far down as his arms could reach, one after the other, full of quarters. $168 worth of quarters. And I'm like, what? I gave him my money. And he doesn't use any tricks, and he wins, and I lost. That was the end of me gambling. So no, I didn't win anything at the casino. I tend not to go to the casino, but I wanted to get out. I had spent the last 5 years, like before, Jeff and I never went out for New Year's Eve, ever. We always stayed in, and you know, that's just how we did it. We were not people that like would go to parties and stuff like that. Wolf and I would, but then we were younger, you know. And so we would stay in and have shrimp and fondue and watch the ball drop and just be sweet at home, cuddled up on chairs, you know what I mean? But I was determined to not spend New Year's Eve at home alone again. Like, I've done this now for years, and it makes me very depressed, and this way I was not depressed. But I did something I haven't done in, I think, like 15 years, and it ruined the night for me. Not ruined it, but it kind of like stopped the night. So I don't know, it was like 11 or something. I don't know what time it was. Anyway, my friend who was with us pulls out her vape, and she takes a hit, and I smell it. And I was like, oh, that smells good, right? Because I haven't done anything like that in so long. What an idiot I am. So she turns it my way and just like raised her eyebrows, like, do you want this? And I was like, all right, let me take a hit, because like I haven't done it. I heard it helps with pain. I have chronic pain. I was like, you know, let's try it. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Like, I'm sober beyond that. So I was like, let me just take a hit. Maybe I'm missing out on something. Everybody's got their card. I didn't bother getting my card because I don't really use it, but I've heard a lot about like the oils that you can rub on your hands and your back and this. So I was like, you know, let me try it. So I take a hit, just one small hit, but it isn't what it used to be. You know, I can definitely say that it is not the same as it was back during my day, where you need like a bowl of it to feel it, you know. And I hadn't smoked in that long, like literally since I moved into the house, since I moved back into my own house, I hadn't touched it. I touched it one night with a bunch of friends when I moved, and we were painting at like 1 in the morning. Like 10 girls showed up at my house like in the middle of the night, and we painted my entire house in one day. It was pretty fucking awesome. And yes, they asked me to partake, and I did that night. And there was one other time. Oh, and then Jeff and I once, we were cleaning out his garage. I don't know if I ever told this story or not. It was so funny. Jeff didn't smoke weed either. And so Jeff and I were cleaning out his garage, and he had all his albums from when he was like young. So the one album he pulled out was Anagata-Davida, and I was like, oh my God, do you remember Anagata-Davida? Which was like the entire one side of an album was one song. That was its notoriety. So I opened the album. It was like a twofold. So I opened the album, and in there is a half a joint about this big, probably from the 60s. Okay? And so we both looked at it. We were like, oh, what do we do? So I don't know if you ever watched that episode of Roseanne when they decided to try weed again after they weren't kids anymore. That was us. So we smoked this thing. It is so old. It's like crackling, falling apart. It was before like you took seeds out of weed. That's how old it is. And so we smoked this thing, and then him and I couldn't look each other in the face. It was like instant paranoia. I don't know what we were thinking. The kids were going to be home soon. We were like sitting there, and I would like look to him, and he would look at me, and then we'd both drop our eyes. And then a few minutes, we were so dead quiet. I was like, finally, after like 15-20 minutes of this, I looked up to him and said, I gotta go home. And he's like, yeah, that's probably best. And I left. This is before I lived with him. I left and I went home, and I was like, oh my God, the kids are gonna know. And like, you just have these paranoid thoughts. And I was like, well, this wasn't worth it. Similarly, New Year's Eve was not worth it. So I take this hit thinking it's a hit. What's it gonna do? It's one drag off of this, it's like a vape, a diffuser. It was smooth and mild. It tasted yummy. That's the one thing I miss. I used to love the taste of weed, and I love the taste of like hash. So back in the day, before it made me nuts, and that's what happened. Back in the day, I stopped smoking weed because I got vertigo. really, I already have vertigo, but if I'd smoke weed and then saw like patterned carpet, I literally would feel like I was gonna pass out. And then I would get a panic attack from that. So it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I stopped smoking weed. So anyway, so I take this hit, we're on the elevator, and then some people wanted coffee, so, because none of us were drinkers. So everybody's like, all right, let's go get coffee. And they have this like little cafe when you first walk in. So we went back over there, and as I'm standing in line, I say, I want coffee. And they had all this cake and stuff, but I was like, yeah, I want that, but maybe for in the morning and blah, blah, blah. We're just talking about it. And little by little, it's creeping in. And I'm like, instantly, sorry I did it. Instantly. I'm like, fuck, this does not feel good. I just can't do it anymore. So I'm like standing there, and all of a sudden, my legs weighed 1,000 pounds, and I was just tired. It instantly made me tired. I don't know, I don't know, because I have heard that like different strains do different things to you. So maybe this was one to put you to bed. I have no idea, because like nowadays they can like create them in different ways to do different things, which is like totally ridiculous back in my day when we used to literally we would grow it in fields. Yeah, like for real, like trash bags full. But it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the same weed. It's not, you didn't like get that same feeling. So instantly I was sorry. But the one thing I was so thirsty, like I couldn't even like swallow. I couldn't get enough spit in my mouth. I just spit. I couldn't get enough spit in my mouth to swallow. So I'm standing there, and all I can hear in my ears is this. Go figure, one hit. And I'm like, okay, I don't want coffee, get me a water. So I get a water, and I start dousing myself with water, because like literally my mouth dried up so bad. I was like, this is awful. This is just awful. So I'm like guzzling water, and I start to feel it come on, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. So I'm like, I gotta go. And everybody looks at me, and I'm like, I should have never done that. And they're like laughing at me because I'm such a panty waste that I can't even like take a hit of weed anymore. And while I'm waiting for my car, I'm just like guzzling water, right? Like just like trying to get enough spit in my mouth to like live. Okay. And remember, I have Sjogren's, which, well, I don't know that I have it. They're not sure, but where my glands swell up and it's really hard, like my mouth gets super dry from my autoimmune. So my mouth is like a desert, and I cannot get enough spit in my mouth to like talk. So I get in my car, it's pouring. Cats and dogs. Carrie's like, before I left, Carrie calls me, and I'm like, it's raining really bad. And she's like, oh, it's only misting in Delaware. Yeah, right. Cats and dogs. So I get, they bring my car around. I valet park, so they bring my car around, and I'm like, all right, fine. Like, at least I'm, you know, going to be able to go home. And I'm and I drive home, and I am like, literally, like, just please get me home. Like, I need water. And Carrie calls me, and she's like, talking to me, because they all left too, because we had already been there for hours. And so they all left too. And what the hell is that? Oh, is something coming off this truck? God damn it. Something's coming off the truck and smacking my car. Let me get out of the way. So, yeah, so that was my New Year's Eve. So I finally got home, and I have like completely emptied out my house of all cookies and cookie dough and this. Well, I ate it all, truthfully. Jeez. But anyway, so there's nothing left in my house but like candy canes on the tree. And I was like, I walked in my house, I was like, I grabbed a bottle of water, I like chugged the whole bottle of water. I was like, oh my God, this is awful. And Carrie said to me on the phone, just eat something when you get home, you'll be fine. So I like look around and there's really nothing. I don't want to cook a meal, but there was nothing like little to grab. So I said, okay, the only thing left was a candy dish that had like 20 Hershey Kisses. I grabbed a handful of them. I went in bed and I ate the Hershey Kisses and drank water. And by then it was almost New Year's. So then New Year's hit and I watched the ball drop and all that. And I like passed out. The next day, yesterday, I was like, all right, that's good enough. I'm done with that. Yeah, right. Don't smoke weed, guys. This is my brain on drugs. That's true. No, this is my brain on drugs. I couldn't fucking swallow. Anyway, have a good one, guys. If I bitch too much, I'm sorry. I don't do resolutions, but if I have one, it's that I'm gonna stop bitching so much. Like, I feel like, you know, I complain too much. I'm not like trying to be bitchy. I don't think I'm a bitch by nature. Although my employees might argue that point, but I don't think so. I'm pretty easy on stuff and like happy by nature, but I've caught myself lately like bitching too much. I'm like, oh, stop saying dumb shit. So I'm gonna stop saying dumb shit. That's my thing. Just tell funny stories. Everything's comic effect, isn't it? All right, guys, this is way too long. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.